For those who hear, let them hear. For those who see, let them see. May the Christ within illumine the world, and know that God is one with thee. Melchizedek, Truth Principle. Seeds of Creation. Greetings. Peace abide with you. How good is it for brethren to dwell together in unity. Peace. Peace. As beautiful as your physical day is, so is the beauty of that portion of life's pattern allotted to you to live in this present physical itinerary. The light of God's sun in your heart's consciousness shines. Let nothing obscure its radiance. As the reed in the marsh bends in the breeze, so let your life be ordered in truth. Wherever truth is to be found, find it. And as the reed in the marsh bends to the gentle breeze, so in your heart's genuflection, bow in acknowledgement to truth. Whether it is spoken across lips of the man whose skin is black, yellow, browns, or white, it matter not. So as long it is truth. In so doing, your message, as you deliver it, shall find favor. There is but one door through which all man must pass, and that is the door of truth. Pass through it, beloved, wherever and whenever you find it open. And should perchance it swing closed, and you know there is truth dwelling behind that closed door, never fear to knock upon the door and arouse the teacher. The true disciple never tires in his quest, and the initiate is always gracious. The teacher serving God and God principle is never too weary, and the hour is never too late. And when the seemingly stranger knocks upon the door and you have truth to share, which you have, never say, "Come tomorrow. My time is now spent." Open the door and welcome the stranger. For as you seek to have your hunger satisfied, many you will find of like desire. There are buried treasures to be found, and man never becomes a pirate of the high seas to find hidden treasures. There is never a necessity for deception or theft. As the story of the pirate of the high sea relates, earnest desire shall open all closed doors and unlatch every concealed chest and treasure box. Let your desire wax, and as it does, you shall always find the oasis in which to dip your cup and quench the thirst of your desire. Never forget the path of the past over which you have traveled to reach the height on which you now stand. Never forget the path as you meet your fellow man of today, as you understand today, who is traveling a similar path. As we discussed with you in a previous visit, growth is ever necessary. All nature goes through the experience of expansion and growth. Here, about your castle, as the warm rays of the sun kiss the earth, you shall plant seeds. You shall hold them in your hand, some very tiny, all in similar color, with a few exceptions, some larger in size, but dry seeds, dry shells. And as you place them between your fingers, and with some manner of apparatus, or another finger, you make a tiny groove or a tiny hole and drop that seed. You then cover it over. You tuck it away to sleep and wait, full well knowing that your efforts shall be rewarded. Remember, all similar in color, with an exception of a few. But within that tiny shell rests a heart. And after you have covered that shell, you do not see what takes place. What happens? Moisture and the warmth of the sun nurture the heart within that shell. Then that little heart begins to expand, and soon there is no longer room within the little tiny shell. The shell bursts. What has happened? Why does the kernel of the heart within the tiny shell expand? Only for one reason. It is alive. It is a part of the great cosmic mind. Therefore, it has been but asleep, and when quickened by the power of God in action, it awakes. And here, let me pause. I desire to refer you to the 15th chapter of 1 Corinthians, and therein you will hear the Apostle Paul speaking in this manner. It says, "And God has given a seed, and unto each seed a body after its own kind." God hath given a seed, not man. Read it. Ponder over it, dear hearts. It is there. After God's mind has expanded in that tiny capsule or shell, what is the next act which your physical eye does not see? There is a tiny white tentacle or root which comes forth seeking moisture, seeking the waters of life. And as it grows in length, there are tiny tentacles which branch forth from it, seeking the waters of life. Desire for further expansion and growth. You have learned to call them roots. What happens next? Regardless of what appears above the soil, this takes place. A tiny sprout, always magenta in color, rises to the surface of the soil, and from within that sprout comes forth a green sprout. What lesson have we to consider? All colors of the spectrum or the aura are contained in white. The pure white light of the eternal cosmos. White, dear hearts, white. Remember it. What is the symbology of the magenta? It is the combination of the highest pinnacle of light's polarity, and the other extreme, intelligence manifested in and through matter. And for your growth, I ask, what combination of colors create magenta? Red and violet. And where do you find red and violet in the spectrum? One is on the cool side of the spectrum, and the other is on the extreme opposite. So, through the warmth of desire and the coolness of tolerance, you have magenta. Look at your rainbow, one of God's great expressions. Where do you find green? In the center of the spectrum. Out of the warmth of the desire of the coolness of tolerance, come forth life, always symbolized by green. What was it the dove brought back to Noah? It was the green olive branch which told Noah that life still exists. As the tiny green sprout grows, it sends forth branches, and upon each branch, regardless of the species of growth, there are tiny buds. Some buds bear leaves, other buds bear blooms, and the leaves shelter the blooms, and the blooms create fruitage. On and on goes life, from the heart of God, bathed and sustained by the power of the eternal cosmos. Call it what you will by any other name, it matter not. It is ever the eternal cosmos, God in action. Man who stands upright, facing the sun, has yet his greatest lesson to learn. From that which he is in mortal consciousness, believes he controls, the lower forms of life. All man has to do is look about him, and he finds at every turn of the road, as he watches the response of nature, he finds that there is another book which he has not read. It is the unwritten book of life. Some of your mundane teachers refer to it as the Akashic record. Where is the midwife who assists the so-called dumb creature to deliver its young? Where is the midwife who breaks the waxen, covering upon the bud of the tree and all other growth, to liberate the leaf and the bloom? There is but one midwife there, and that is the great eternal midwife, the Creator, God. Beloved, you are beginning to read the unwritten records, and as you read them and behold their beauty and all that expresses life, even rocks, for remember, rock formation is not lifeless. Nothing is lifeless. As you begin to understand man termed wonders of nature, you become closer to your God, and you shall understand the capsule in which you live. You shall understand how, when the seed was planted in the womb and fertilized by the ovum, it expanded. How the tiny white tentacles sought the waters of life, and how warmth of the desire and the coolness of tolerance brought forth the magenta, from which came the physical body you now wear. Again, may I refer to the Apostle Paul, for the path he chose to trod was anything but smooth, and through the lessons he learned, he was able to say to those who became destructively critical in their opinion, "Be ye therefore not given over to appearances, for hath not God written his law in their hearts?" That is sufficient. Man has coined this statement. You cannot judge the contents of a book by its cover. And that, dear ones, you have proven to be true. Let us never be deceived by appearances. We of the council never permitted to be, out of all walks of life, the lame, the maimed, the halt, the tall, the short, the lean, and those of flesh, those of all colors and races. We make our choice. Bless you, bless you.